Have you ever just stared into a closet packed with clothes and had that sinking feeling, I have nothing to wear? Well, it turns out that feeling is tied to a limitation that's been around for literally thousands of years. But what if one single shirt could be any color you wanted whenever you wanted? Okay, let's get into the incredible technology that's on the verge of turning our static wardrobes into something, well, something alive.
And that's really the core of it, isn't it? For all of human history, once a piece of clothing is made, once that dye is set, its look is locked in. It's permanent. And that one simple fact has shaped the entire fashion industry, from how we make things to how we buy them.
But this limitation, it's not just a small inconvenience. Oh no. It is the direct cause, the very engine behind one of the planet's most wasteful industries, fast fashion. Why? Because if you want a new color, you don't have a choice. You have to buy a whole new thing.
And that leads to this. $1.7 trillion. That's how big the global fast fashion economy is, an absolutely colossal industry. And the whole thing is built on selling us more and more static objects just to feed that desire for something fresh.
And the cost to our planet, it's just staggering. We're talking about the textile industry being responsible for 10% of all global carbon emissions. And maybe even crazier, 20% of the world's wastewater, most of which comes from the incredibly toxic chemical dyeing process.
So, this is the question that could change everything. What if? What if we could break free from that static curse? This is the pivot point, really, from a wasteful past toward a future that's more sustainable and way more expressive. And the answer, believe it or not, lies in a technology called electrochromism.
So how on earth do you make a t-shirt change color with the press of a button? Well, it's not magic. It's this really fascinating mix of chemistry and material science. So let's break down how it actually works.
At its heart, the idea is surprisingly simple. Electrochromism is just when a material can change its color when you give it a little zap of electricity. And this is the most important part. It's totally reversible. You can change it back and forth.
So here's what's happening on a microscopic level. It's basically a three-step dance. First, a tiny bit of voltage gets applied to the fabric's fiber. That jolt causes ions, these little charged particles, to physically move from one layer to another inside the fiber. And that movement forces the material's actual molecular structure to shift, which changes how it reflects light. And to our eyes, boom, the fabric just blooms into a whole new color.
And this is where it gets really cool. Your regular clothes use chemical pigments. They work by absorbing certain colors of light. But this new method uses something called structural color. It doesn't absorb light. It changes the fabric's physical structure at the nano level to reflect light in a very specific way. The result isn't just a flat, boring color. It's vibrant. It's iridescent. Honestly, it works just like the shimmering wing of a butterfly.
Okay, so we've got the science down. But how do you go from that principle to a piece of fabric you'd actually want to wear? I mean, it's got to be soft, right? Let's look at how these smart threads are actually put together.
So the secret sauce is creating what are called conductive yarns. What researchers do is they take normal fibers, like cotton, and they coat them with these amazing high-tech materials. We're talking about special polymers that conduct electricity, or atom-thin sheets of graphene, or even silver nanowires. This basically gives the fabric its own tiny nervous system.
So every single fiber ends up being this tiny microscopic sandwich. You've got the outer layer, which is the part that actually changes color. Then there's a middle layer that lets those ions travel through. And finally, an inner layer that holds the ions when they're not in use. And the best part? All of this is happening at such a tiny scale that the final fabric is still totally soft, breathable, and flexible. It feels like clothes.
All right, now this is where things get really fun. Let's move past the lab and imagine what it would be like to actually use this stuff. How would you control a digital shirt?
The possibilities here are just mind-blowing. You could link your shirt to an app on your phone, see a color you love in a photo, and just tap to make your shirt that exact color. You could program shifting patterns that flow and change as you walk, or get this, you could sync the color to your heart rate, creating a kind of 21st century mood ring. A simple double tap on your cuff could instantly change your outfit from a daytime to an evening look. It's wild. But as cool as all that is, the personal expression, it's not even the biggest deal. The most profound, the most important impact this technology could have is its potential to finally end the environmental crisis of fast fashion. I mean, just think about it logically.
If one dress can effectively be 1,000 different dresses, the need to constantly produce and buy new things just plummets. Some estimates suggest we could see a drop in total garment production of up to 70%. You wouldn't be buying a new shirt, you'd just be downloading a new color for the one you already have.
And here is the other huge environmental victory. The whole toxic water-polluting chemical dyeing process, it just disappears. These fabrics are made in a neutral color. The dyeing happens electronically, in your own home, using almost no water. This would essentially wipe out one of the most polluting industrial processes on the entire planet.
Now, as incredible as all this sounds, let's be realistic for a second. We're not quite there yet. The prototypes are working in labs, but there's still a few pretty big hurdles to get over before these chameleon clothes are actually hanging in your closet.
So right now, it really boils down to 3 big challenges. First, washability. Nanoelectronics and a washing machine don't exactly play nice together. Second is power. We need batteries that are light, flexible, and last a long time. And third, of course, is cost. The high-tech materials and weaving processes are still really expensive. But just like with all technology, those prices are expected to come way down as they scale up production.
So when you step back and look at the big picture, we are really on the edge of a massive shift in how we think about what we wear. This is that rare technology that offers a true win-win. You get ultimate personal expression, and we get a drastically smaller environmental footprint. It really forces us to change the fundamental question we ask ourselves every morning. It's no longer, what should I wear today? It's, what color should my clothes be today?